Hello, hello, Cleveland State esports fans. I'm your host with the most, and sometimes toast, VGS Plus, aka Vanguard, Jarrell, whatever the heck you want to call me. And this is your NECC Overwatch stream, commentating the CSU white team. Got a lot of new players this semester, some returning faces. I think we only got one returning face. Really excited. Been keeping in the loop for Cleveland State Esports and just seeing what they're up to. Very excited for what they're going to be bringing to the next match, or into the starting match. Meta has ever been evolving and has been constantly shaking things up with all the nerfs and buffs to all the different characters. New characters getting added. Whole lot of major changes to the game, but still Overwatch at the end of the day. We're starting out on the control, seeing our Li Jiang at a starting map here. Ended up making the most sense considering this is definitely one of Cleveland State's most favored maps. What comp they'll run though? Interesting. Yeah, running the Brawl makes a lot of sense. This team is very notorious running Brawl. On the map as well, making the most sense. Running the pretty standard Brawl. Probably running the Sim out for the TP. Don't know if they're going to be running it the whole match. Could potentially see a swap there, but even then, running into this comp here makes a lot of sense. Seeing the Brig Juno from the opposing side here, that's going to be very interesting to see. Juno and Brig is a very interesting combination. Lucio Brig doesn't really work as well, but Juno with a little bit on the stronger of the healing makes a little more sense, honestly. Juno being able to protect and bodyguard somebody on the team, but who does she really need to do that with? I think Brig is a little out of place on that composition. I think the Lucio just ends up making a lot more sense. Speaking of Lucio, Nebby in the bag, absolutely walking on people. Shambao going to go down next for those big fists from Scott. In the bag, and Specs just absolutely walking on people with that beam. Power Symmetra, ladies and gentlemen. Get on those linear maps, you get those big sightlines and hallways, or not sightlines, those big old hallways and choke points. Symmetra tends to excel. Same with May, but she doesn't have the space taking that May does. But they end up complementing each other very well. Cleveland State is going to take the point. The Brig here. Yeah, Brig is not really going to find her place here in this composition. I feel like she's just a sitting duck with all this mobility and all this bulk. Brig is bulky, but she's not as bulky enough to be running Brawl. She's bulky enough to last pretty long in dive. Definitely not enough to last in a lasting fight like that. Her ults definitely will make a change there. We're going to be seeing the swap to Tracer. We're going to see some good peel from Nebby as well. And Tracer, yeah, getting absolutely melted because of just how strong Lucio is at this current moment. Doesn't really matter as much anymore because we see two go down. A late beat from Cleveland State here, but it does not look like it's going to matter as we see Winner walking in with the Annihilation, cleaning up the point. Even though that Ramacha getting two on Cleveland State there, not really going to mean anything too much. Ice is going to get a couple kills there, getting theirs, and doesn't get out. Winner's going to get the kill there. Cleveland State pretty steadily holding this point, coming up on that 60% marker. Looking very confident. Ultimate usage is in the favor of the opposing side here. One ult being used last match to Cleveland State's 2. We're seeing the pretty effective use of the... Yeah, wow, Freezer with the 3. Yeah, we're seeing the pretty effective use of the Blizzard there. Very effective. Gonna help the opposing team get on the board. Orbital Ray going down as well. Did forget the original name. I usually just call it Airstrike. It does look like a kill streak if you ever play Call of Duty. We're gonna see Winner just absolutely walk down, getting the support on the Brig again. Character just feels so out of place on this specific meta here. It's very interesting to see. We see Ghostface just walking in, looking like the real deal. Scream. Cleveland State just cleans up and takes the point that was very much theirs in the first place. No bias. Could see the opposing side make a last effort here, where Mantra ult is most likely going to be online going into this. The Brig ult potentially could be something pretty insane here when we're fighting against, yeah, Winter's ult there. Might see some pretty significant effect there, but no, yeah, we're just going to see Svex absolutely just shred through that ultimate there. Despite the armor bug, which may have got fixed last patch, Brigitte's just getting shut down. I don't see the reason to run that there when you have a comp like this that you're fighting. I feel like she doesn't get as much longevity and as much prevalence as something like that. In a dive, it's a lot different because you just need to keep them away and keep your bodyguard up. But in a brawl, everyone's kind of on their own and doing it there. Seeing the hard switch from the opposing side here over to the... Still keeping the Brig, but Shax is hopping on the set of Lauren. And running the Sojourn May. Very interesting composition. I feel as if Juno isn't truly a Lucio replacement. I do think Lucio in utility and just in ultimate and everything ability-wise ends up being the better pick, but we'll see what happens. We're seeing Cleveland State roll out with almost another form of brawl here with the Cassidy. Very, very effective. Still think Sim would have been pretty effective here as well, but Cass you can't really go wrong with. Definitely plays into the head-to-head a little bit better, especially with the added health and the added buff with that bomb he's got in his back pocket. Being able to hinder and blow up enemies pretty effectively. Still gives him that tracer counter ability as well. Should the opposing side want to swap into that. Lots and lots and lots of damage coming down from the side of the opposers here. But plenty of healing. ShamWow keeping the team very healthy. Nevi in the bag and Winter just walking on in. Unworried because of their support line. Love to see it, man. Love to see the tanks and everybody get super confident because of how effective their supports are. Something I strive for as a Lucio player. Don't get it as often, though. We won't talk about it.
Put them in the crowd. Get ready for a fight. You are safe with me.
Illspace lobbing icicles down the lane. Oh, and we see Lauren somehow flying off the map. Very interesting. Opposing side is just gonna have to regroup considering they just lost one of their supports. NECC is gonna go down. Shax is gonna follow very, very closely. A little bit of a pause here, maybe a little bit of a delay of some sort. Perhaps at DC. Hate to see it that first match, ladies and gentlemen. Much apologies for the technical difficulties. Equipment. Graphics card has blown up. That's a joke. But it could be true. Stay tuned to find out. While we are waiting, ladies and gentlemen, I'll get the shilling out of the way while we got some downtime. If you haven't already, please drop a follow. Very, very, very appreciated. Any support will do. All socials, we're pretty much on everything, I believe. Instagram, Snapchat. Are we not on Snapchat? I don't think we're on Snapchat. Twitter, TikTok, I believe. TikTok. Yeah, we got TikTok. Okay, that's beautiful. Awesome. Follow us. Type in Cleveland State Esports everywhere. If we're there, drop us a follow. Goes a long way. Very, very much appreciated. Helps out the players a lot. Directly supports esports as a whole. Bigger we get, bigger stuff we can do, crazier events we can go to, and the crazier things you can see Cleveland State in or at, depending on what you are interested in. Crazier things we can add as well. I know they're in talks of adding more fighting games to the Cleveland State esports roster. So if you want to see some Tekken or Street Fighter, because I sure do, drop a follow. Very much appreciated. Down on Tekken, unfortunate, but true. A little bit too niche. Also hard. Street Fighter 6 would be amazing. Big, big, big fan of Street Fighter 6. I'm going to be getting a co-host here very shortly. Can't wait for that. 2 casters is better than 1. Lets me rest my voice a little bit.
A little medicine goes a long way. Thank you. Hello. You are safe. Put them in the crowd.
This ends now.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the absolute patience. Seeing some ults go down. Apologies, was reading something from the technical support. But not a whole lot is coming out from the opposing team here. Cleveland State just holding it down. Really well played. I didn't say anything, but the beat there was absolutely amazing by Nevi in the bag.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Context for the viewers, we are casting remotely today, so we're in 2 different locations. My name is Livy. This is my first time casting Overwatch, so please be patient with me. Can you fill me in on how the game's been going so far?
Yeah, so far Cleveland State has been pretty dominant. We're seeing some pretty insane plays from Cleveland State. A little bit of a Hail Mary from the enemy side here, but an amazing wall, great defensive play from Cleveland State as well. We're seeing, yes, Vex pop off with the Dead Eye. This is probably the closest fight that we've seen so far, but even still, it's pretty much gonna be, yeah, the first fight that we've seen be pretty dominantly in the opposing side here. Cleveland State held it down on the first point, and they're sort of doing the same on this one. Not really much percentage on the opposite team, but we're seeing ults fly out on either side. Cleveland State is a little bit more ult happy because of how much of the advantage they've had for the entire time. But even still, could be anyone's point.
Sort of all pushing in from the same angle. I'm not familiar with the maps in this game. Is there like sort of just one in and out point, or is it more common for people to split up?
Lijiang Tower, it usually will depend on the compositions as well. On this type of map, it's really effective to play on that sort of like grouped up, or what we in the Overwatch community business like to call brawl. That head-to-head combat style, it ends up being very satisfying, very effective in this type of regard, just because you're all grouped up, you're all almost focusing your attention down one lane, one unit, and when everyone's sort of focused in on that, it makes it a lot easier to get stuff done. Like this. Cleveland State does a pretty good job on getting things done on this. One of their specialties.
Yeah, I'm casting a lot of Valorant recently, and in that game, by contrast, setting all of your players down one lane is usually a pretty bad strategy. So it's interesting to see the sort of support abilities come out here to make that kind of play effective.
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially on the comparison to Valorant. This game is very teamwork oriented. You still can play it separate if you really want to, but it's almost like you still need everybody to be coordinated to do things. Such as this, we're seeing a pretty good example of this right here. Winner displaying dominance on the Ramatra here. Into being pretty solid. Popping the Annihilation to secure play of the game and the victory. Also gotta love the player icons from Cleveland State. One thing I always love about these streams.
So what is the game count so far, and what sort of format are we playing today?
I believe that it is best of 5. I could be wrong, but I believe it's best of 5. Most NECC matches end up going to that. Usually going to follow the orientation of control point. I believe they're going best of 3. Interesting. Wow. Okay, so they
I just got word from the producer.
Tighten that up a little bit. That's interesting. Makes sense considering they might have a lot more matches to play for the rest of it. Control, flashpoint, and then push. Very interesting. Okay, so we're probably going to be seeing, from my best guess, Cleveland State playing on the New Junk City, and then I bet on push Esperanza. It could be either way, push or flashpoint, but I know from what Cleveland State typically likes to run, Brawl probably being their specialty, Dive being a little bit something that we need to work on, and then Poke being almost like a mixed bag. But
could you explain to me what push and flashpoint mean?
So 2 game modes. Flashpoint is essentially you going from point to point, very similar to how have you ever played Hardpoint in Call of Duty?
Yes.
Okay, very similar to that, where you have set objectives, you stay on the objective for a little bit, and you defend it for a set period, and your team kind of scrambles around trying to get each objective. It's usually like a best of 5, so whoever gets the 3 points usually wins in that instance. And then push is very interesting as well. You are essentially fighting for dominance over a robot who has to push barriers to opposite sides. And it's usually a longer based game mode because the timer isn't really based on anything. It's usually just based on how long the matches go. And whoever has dominance over the robot usually has dominance over spawn points, so they end up giving back a lot faster as well. So it ends up being a pretty hectic game mode if you play it right.
Right, so it's sort of like Minecart in TF2.
Yeah. That's a really good description, actually. Yeah.
All right. So how does the map picking process in this game go? Are you aware?
Usually it's loser picks. And then it's kind of like similar to Smash. The loser gets the pick, but then usually get a couple bans. Not enough maps in the game, unfortunately, that have no bans. Yeah, not enough maps in the game, unfortunately, that you can really do a lot of bans. Perhaps in the future when we get a lot more, then we'll have some consideration for it. But push only has 2, and push only has 4. Excuse me. And then we only have 2 for Flashpoint.
Right.
Yeah, we're seeing New Queen Street, which might not be everyone's favorite, quite possibly not the most fan favorite in the Overwatch community, probably the least favorite. And I most likely see Esperance as everyone's most favorite, at least mine. I like the map aesthetically and also playing on it the most.
That makes sense. This game is very pretty. That's the one thing I've noticed from watching it. It's a very beautiful looking game.
Absolutely. The visuals is the biggest thing I love in this game. Tons of skins, tons of amazing things when it comes to the higher quality if you really want to push it on that regard. Overwatch is an amazing game. Playing it sometimes fun, but visuals will always be one thing that is the tippity top. I say with over 2,000 hours in the game.
So if possible, could you walk me through the sort of character picks we see from CSU typically?
Like I said earlier, Brawl does end up being the most standard comp that we see a lot of what they what they run. Brawl is essentially, like I said, the head-to-head, sort of like close quarters combat of the Overwatch style. Usually see characters with higher health pools, more or less distance closing abilities, a lot of close and quick fights depending how often the opponents or our Cleveland State Esports team is able to find those opening warbirds. Usually we're seeing characters like Reinhardt, Zarya is another good example, Ramattra like we saw last match, characters that have a lot of health, a lot of strong abilities, but a lot of need to get up and personal. Zarya is a little bit interesting on that regard because she has a very long beam that gets stronger for more damage she takes. Cool thing about Zarya when it comes to pairing, especially with a Genji, we saw this at the beginning of the game when the meta was really developing, or really like starting to develop, was she benefited a lot from bubbling her teammates. She has 2 bubbles, one for herself and one for her teammates. She can use as many as she wants, barring, you know, the 2-limit barrier. And she gets energy from it. More energy she has, more damage she does. So having teammates that typically like to get more in the face of others ends up being beneficial there. Unfortunately, we see Nebby go down, getting a little bit too much in the face, but such is the life of a Lucio. Seeing Ghostface go down as well. Cleveland State losing both of the 2 players not as effectively there. Good pick there on the support, but unfortunately might not see Winter being around for too long. Specs is supporting quite well though. On the high ground. Seeing Nebby in the bag come back very quickly. Very nice to see. Trying her best to keep Vex alive despite best efforts from the bubble and the amp heals. Unfortunately just can't do it. Seeing a great nade on Winter as well is going to go down. Seeing the Junker Queen and the Ana finally come out from Lauren actually might put them on the marker here. Don't know why it took so long to see that before, removing the Brig for so long. Don't think Brig truly has a place in this current meta at the current moment. She's solid, but doesn't really stack up in Brawl too well.
I see.
Seeing the Dynamite go down. It's being a great pressure tool, pressuring Zarya in a unique way, forcing her to make a almost sporadic decision very quickly. Speaking of sporadic decisions, Winter, oh my goodness, wow, we're seeing NECC just absolutely waste their ultimate there, and Cleveland State, ShamWow, absolutely going off on the Moira, getting her 3 back-to-back. Very, very nice to see with the cleanup. Seeing a lot of ults come online as well for both sides. Nano's going to be one that Cleveland State is going to have to very much worry about. Nano Junker Queen, even without her ultimate, is definitely going to be terrifying.
Seeing a little bit of a scuffle breakout here.
Do something.
Yeah, these pokes or these fights are a little bit interesting. We don't have like traditional comps. We see a lot of interesting things go out there. Freezer is going to be going off with the Bob. We're seeing Genji take a little bit of more aggressive there. Yeah, not many ults are being used on the side of the opposing here, but yeah, that's honestly kind of a scarier thing if I'm Cleveland State here. I'd reset quick and then just get ready for the next fight because they need to get a little bit more distance to tie this up. Definitely still winnable, but ults are going to be online, and ults are going to be the most important thing here. Both support ults being online are going to be pretty dangerous as well for Cleveland State.
Yeah.
Seeing the swap to the Reaper here too from Ghostface. I think she's making a good decision here. He'll be in the back going down again, unfortunately. Specs trying to see if we can get any value with the visor, but yeah, the opposing side is just playing a little bit too split to see any major value there. We're gonna see the Ashe go down. Ghostface, unfortunately, isn't able to find as much value as she would think. A very late beat, unfortunately, from Nebby, a little bit on that regard, but they're not going to get checkpoint. It's going to be all that matters there. We're going to see Winter walk down the mid lane, getting the Ana, unable to get the Tracer, unfortunately. Going to regroup with the team. Cleveland State a little bit lacking on the ultimate department, but depending on how they play this, Graviton Surge might be all they need.
Check. Affirmative.
Enhancing your vitals.
6 minutes on the clock as well.
Your team is close
Come
to
on,
taking
kids. We're almost at the finish line.
So if time runs out before a player or before a team gets it all the way to the end, is it a overtime situation or just furthest team wins?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's going to be an overtime situation. Typically, whoever has control of it, let's say the person who has the lead has the robot, it'll still clock into overtime, but overtime will just tick down. But if the opposing side has the robot there, then they have infinite overtime essentially until they're able to connect to the robot. Overtime timer will tick down depending on how long it's active. So if it's been active for a long time, the overtime timer will tick the heck down depending on if they're able to get back or not. So we'll see some pretty unique touches depending on how these matches are going to go. And if Freezer keeps hitting shots like this, we might see it go on a little bit longer than what Cleveland State might need. So we're going to see some very interesting fights go on here. We're going to see, despite the massive hit there from the Carnage or from the Rampage, not going to see Cleveland State go down there without a fight. Still getting the lead, but we're seeing a lot of ults being used on the side of, oh, Ghostface, that's not what you want to do there. From both sides here, very frantically used. I think both teams are just a little bit surprised that the fight was lasting that way. So seeing the Nano and the Pulse stay online for the opposing team here. Winter providing a little bit of pressure, making sure the Ashe gets a move on. We're seeing the Ashe come out as well from Spec, swapping off of the Soldier, which is a much better pick in my opinion. Pulse is going to go down, but I think we see the bubble protecting our Lucio there, keeping Nebby alive. Love to see it.
like mending a shadow.
Seeing the swap to the Kiri as well off the Moira. Wow, yeah, they are just, this is what I'm talking about. When you get those insane coordinated plays like that, they just end up walking down. Not seeing the cleanse come out from Shamball either. Yeah, and I think the opposing side is going to take back the lead as well. We're seeing the swap to the Junker Queen. Makes a lot of sense considering how much she gets off of her abilities. Her physical attacks, whether it be her knife or her axe, end up doing a bleed and lifesteal effect. So the more she hits with those two abilities, the more health she's going to gain over time. So going to be very, very, very interesting to see here on how Cleveland State is going to be playing this there. Winner's not opposed to playing the character, but I definitely think they excel more on the traditional tanks. Yeah, we're going to see Ghostface go down again to the Junker Queen. Trace and Otto running for their lives, essentially.
My fuse is lit.
Freezer going to rather do the own deed than die by Specs' hands. Seeing the beat and on the box tube hopping online as well.
Sort of the calm before the storm here, but a fight's starting to break out. A little bit of a peak there.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's going to be this sort of like awkward state. That's going to be a great pick for Cleveland State to get. Having not a tracer in your backline to worry about is going to be really, really solid when there's just a small little sliver that you got to get to secure the lead. Seeing Anti-Nate come out early. Unfortunately, a pretty late beat from Cleveland State. Again, not seeing the best thing from that there. And Nex is going to get 3, and Shax is going to clean up Ghostface. Yeah, I feel like just a little bit more timing on the beat is going to be better there, or the cleanse. Not seeing enough of that. Granted, Joker Queen has been a little bit 50-50 with the rampages, but even still, gonna be seeing Winter go down and get the kill, securing the Ana.
Yeah, pretty solid lead here for CSU.
Let's go.
In terms of the fight.
Yeah, this is looking good. It just seems like the opposing side is just trying to move the bot as quickly as possible. Maintaining the lead is the obviously most important thing in this, but it's almost sort of like playing chicken with the opposite team here. We're seeing, wow, Shamma with the amazing kill, popping off and getting the tracer there. Fortunately going down to the Joker Queen. Winter getting pulled back and falls to Freezer. Yeah, I think Specs was just in that fight just a little bit too long.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough situation for CSU here.
Definitely winnable, but they're just going to have to play this a little bit careful. Dangerous ults are going to be coming online. We're going to see the Nano and the Rampage come online. This is what I mean earlier. Don't have the beat, but we have the cleanse on deck. So depending on how Cleveland State plays it here, could be very massive. Winner with the pretty awesome flank there does get slept by the Ana, but could be dangerous, and they did not see that the cleanse was used, so I think that the opposite team is going to go under the assumption that the cleanse has not been used. Unfortunately for them, that they do end up getting a pretty big kill because of it, but we are going to see a Nex go down. Nebby falls next, but Winner does follow up with the knife, securing that on the tracer. Very, very, very solid, looking very easy, and Lucio does come back pretty quickly, so does the tracer, but I think Nebby can beat them out. This where it gets very, very close. Very, very close here. Very, very close. This is those sort of small moments on push that make you almost on the edge of your seat because it's just very, very, very close. Seeing only the Nano on deck on the side of the opposing side here. We see Ghostface with an amazing wall, popping out the Blizzard, but doesn't get the barrier off to keep themselves alive, unfortunately. Great dynamite from Specs, keeping the Joker Queen away and at bay. Great cleanse, keeping themselves alive. We don't see an Ajax either. Nebby in the bag with a great beat. We're going to see Shamwell go down. Both supports are down from Cleveland State. Not looking like the best, unfortunately. Yeah, I think we might see Cleveland State fall there. And I think that was just honestly a little bit of mismanagement on the support side and maybe just a little bit of the mismanagement on the ultimates against the Rampage. Got a little bit too much value there, but even still, great effort from Cleveland State here.
We are going to see this go to a game 3, which I believe will be on Flashpoint.
Correct, yeah. We're seeing a little bit of interesting interaction there. The Joker Queen kind of flying off the May Ice barrier, getting a little airborne there to, I don't know if that did anything, probably didn't, but funny to see regardless.
I'm interested to see the switch up in strategy we might see on a new game mode here. What are your thoughts on it?
Both maps are still pretty brawl oriented. You probably could play either comps that they're running before and be pretty fine. I will say it is a little bit better to be running something that's quick. New Junk City or Throw says production. I do agree. Servasa is a little bit too chaotic and a little bit too much sometimes when it comes to their overall points. Some of them are very, very, very hard to push or defend on because of how staggering the architecture is. New Junk City is a lot more traditional for Overwatch standards, at least. And ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing the Servasa. Not to say Cleveland State can't do it, but it's just most likely going to be a little bit easier in the new Junk City.
Yeah.
I'll say I'm a dark horse too. I really do like Servasa. The map's pretty. It's a very, very gorgeous map. I think it's based in Thailand. Yeah, it came out when let's see, when Life Event first entered the game. So it's pretty interesting there.
I see. I have no idea what the setting of Overwatch is supposed to be, if I'm being honest. I can't tell if it's like the future or just alternate timeline or...
They describe it, I think it was in a manual or like somewhere, as future Earth. So that can mean anything.
Right.
It could be 2023, it could be 2024. Some voice lines reference Reinhardt, some of his classics as Hasselhoff, and I think we got ages for Reinhardt, and like when they were born, Reinhardt would have been around our age. So I don't think his classics would have been Hasselhoff. He would have been listening to, what's a modern artist nowadays? I don't want to say Cardi B. That was the first thing that popped into my head. I'm just gonna stop talking. He'd be 9. He probably would be a Zoomer, which would be very interesting. He would be born in our generation, so he would be listening to Chance the Rapper. Chance the Rapper, I could see that. I could see Reinhardt listening to Chance the Rapper. Maybe some MF Doom. Or some Beastie Boys. I could see Beastie Boys.
He's 9 years old now. He's probably listening to 100 Gex. Let's be real.
100 Gex. I could see a big guy like Reinhardt bopping out to that. Lucio would probably be still into EDM. I don't think EDM's going anywhere in the future. If anything, it's probably crazy. Bopping Mitski. Mitski would be kind of insane, not gonna lie. I was listening to that last night. Mitski's pretty great.
I got to see her in Cleveland a little while ago for free. It was pretty hype.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. So, I haven't followed this game in a pretty long time. Did the whole single player thing ever work out, or no?
You said free for all?
Single player.
Oh yeah, not the best, unfortunately. They had really great plans for it. I was really excited for it. I was really excited to just see a story. It's still in the game. Like if you go to the tab, you see some of the missions. It's not really the best, but it's something. So I'm not too upset about it, even though I am.
I see. This is another very pretty looking map.
Yeah, I love the way this map looks. Playing on it is another thing, but it's very nice to look around on. Granted, I'm very biased because I only played, for the most part, one character, and he's not bad. He's not bad. Lucio is pretty fun on this map.
Yeah. All these winding paths and narrow hallways, it kind of looks more like a Counter-Strike map than anything.
That's so interesting you say that too. I think there is a map in CS that has this sort of like light and sort of like this like lighting and like area, which is so interesting to me. Gonna be seeing the brawl from both sides pretty much. Actually, almost unique comp from the opposing side here. Don't really know what I would really call this. This is kind of the beauty of Overwatch. You can kind of run things that are not as traditional and sort of do whatever the heck you want to in some regards. Big dynamite from the enemy side. You're going to be putting some damage down. Early wall from our side. Not going to be able to trap the queen. I'm going to see Specs go down, but we're going to see the Ana go down as well from Nebby. Beautiful kill on their regard. Joker Queen getting pulled in by Winner. Booped back in by Nebby. Great teamwork there. Great cleanse to keep our tank alive. Ice is trying to get some value there. Does not seem to do so. Breathing out to hopefully live. good headshot from ShamWow. She's really hitting these this game. You'd love to see it. Speaking of.
Yeah, so I expect on a game mode like this, things will be a little bit more combat-oriented, a little bit more explosive, am I wrong?
Yeah, that's the one thing I love about this map. It really ends up being a lot more head-to-head. As somebody who really likes a lot of quick fights and a lot of almost like reaction-based interactions in this game, you see them very often on this. Unfortunately, sometimes you see those moments where you don't really make the best decisions on a whim, but sometimes you see those really amazing split-second decisions, like in this moment where we're seeing ShamWow absolutely annihilate with the ultimate, keeping everybody alive and just sort of run down the mid lane with the Kitsune Rush. The quicker you are sometimes on this map, the most intense you get to make your fights. So ends up being pretty amazing for Cleveland State on that regard. Moving on to the next point. Hopefully going to hold it down with ease.
We're gonna see combat break out again here in just a second.
Yeah, wow, we're gonna see Cleveland State just absolutely run through winner with the 3. Ghostface stealing the last kill from them.
Yeah, very impressive showing there.
Flanking.
Let's kick this off.
We're gonna see the Reaper come in, and it gets shut down by Sphex. Really great showing there. Getting the 2, unfortunately getting shut down by the ultimate there. But we're seeing Nebby clean up almost, keeping it at least competitive on the point there. We're seeing a really good, keeping the contest up from Cleveland State. Really good. Love when the supports are able to play off each other really well. Beauty of that composition too. Lucio Kiriko is probably still my favorite composition to run in the game, support-wise. Tons of movement and tons of abilities to keep yourself alive and your teammates alive. And stay on the point for a real long time too. Getting that from 60 to 80 ridiculously quickly.
Yeah, suddenly CSU on the back foot for I think the first time this game, having to push into the flashpoint rather than having control over it.
Yeah, very much true. We're seeing the beat engage too with the Joker Queen not really being able to do anything, almost wasting the nano. We are going to be most likely seeing the Rampage here in a few moments from the opposing side here, or from, Cleveland State going to be initiating with the Fox Tube as well. We're going to see the Ana go down. Good cleanse, keeping everybody up. There it is. Yeah, we're seeing a pretty late, unfortunately, Rampage from the opposing side here. Not really going to see as much value as you'd think. Juno kind of stuck behind, maybe looking to make a last-ditch contest, but with ShamWow on the radar, not going to happen. Absolutely making it happen with Cleveland State.
Flashpoint Temple.
So if I understand the format correctly, they only need to take one more flashpoint, right?
Correct. Yeah, like it's very interesting, very quick. I think the timer, if we can get a timer, I think it's around 5 minutes into this match right now. A lot has happened, and usually you end up seeing these matches go pretty quick. Sometimes it can get pretty insane pretty quickly, depending on how like intensive everyone's hopping on and off the point when it comes to overtimes and such. It's definitely a more souped up version of the base control with a lot bigger of a map. So taking that into account can be pretty intensive, but Cleveland State is making it look easy, especially with the combination of Ghostface and Winner here, absolutely setting them up ridiculously well, keeping it somewhat competitive at least for them. They're having fun.
Yeah. All right, we're seeing another push here from our opponents.
Pulse not going to get any value there. We're seeing the Ajax from the Tracer. We would say coming up on that 50% marker. Going to overtake and probably hit 60, yeah, 60 and 70 pretty soon. Bolt's not looking so good for the opposing side there. Not really have anything really to work with besides the orbital ray, which can be good for entryway, but I think they're going to get beaten out by the Kitsune Rush in beat combination should they really want to stack ults Cleveland State. Yeah, one more fight going to be looking to go in there. We're seeing the Junker Queen get walled. Big axe from Winter there. We're seeing the May domain expansion. Not really going to see a lot of value there. Ghostface going to be walking in on these two present supports. Going to miss the freeze on her. And just as ice and coldy May is, Cleveland State rips victory away from the opposing side here themselves.
Yeah. So that's going to be a 2-1 victory for Cleveland State here.
Yeah, it was looking pretty close on that push map there, but yeah, Ghostface just had to show everybody who the coldest person in this lobby was. Very, very, very great showing from them here. Absolutely love to see it. It's been a while since I commentated, and having a W be my first commentation or commentary back, always a great thing. Love to see it.
Yeah, I'm glad to have gotten the opportunity to commentate Overwatch, to commentate with you. I must say, play the game is an awesome feature. I love that.
It's great. It's really, really great. There's always highlights and everything. Overwatch isn't the first game to do it, but they're definitely some of the better games to almost master it. They've done it, and play the game is definitely like one of the more iconic things to come out of Overwatch, and I love it. Yeah, hopefully in the future, we get to do this more. Livy, it was a pleasure to meet you. I am Vanguard. If you
there's more, by the way.
There's more, really?
There's more.
Oh wow. I got a
Still
treat.
waiting on details on that, but we will get to stick around a little bit longer.
That's amazing. Oh, it's sick. I didn't think it was. I thought it was just the one. I'm excited then.
2 more. Okay, 3 whole games for you guys tonight.
Three whole games. I got a treat.
All in the same league or all different leagues? Same league. Okay, wow. packed
Same
schedule.
league. Interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Is it like a bracket phase or qualifier? Yeah.
Qualifier. Interesting. All right.
So the way it works.
We're getting our producer on the mic to explain it.
So this, I gotta take the headphones off. I hear myself. So the way that this works is it's the NECC qualifiers. To be fully transparent, kind of doesn't mean anything. NECC really does not take this into account too much, but each team has up to 3 games that they get to play. If they lose 2, they play only 2. If they win any, they will play all 3. And it's in a sort of, you can imagine it as an like an 8-team or 4-team bracket, I think, where if you win an 8-team bracket, a bunch of 8-team brackets in the same bracket, where if you lose at any point in that 8-team bracket, except for the last one, you will play somebody from another 8-team bracket. It's a little weird.
All right. Sort of like the non-playoff games in baseball.
That's pretty similar. Honestly, yeah. That's a pretty good description.
Yeah. For any non-baseball viewers in the chat, which is probably most of you, they play like 4 million games every year or something. Not literally, that's hyperbole, but they play a lot of games, and most of them don't matter that much other than giving the team someone to play, giving the viewers someone to watch. But ultimately, those little things do add up when you go into playoff season. So I'm guessing that's sort of what we'll see here. Alright, so we are going to be going to a break. I will let you guys, I'll see you guys when we're back, and we'll have more information for you then.
All right, all right. Looks like we're rolling into the next match. Does production know the orientation of the next set of maps?
So I myself restrained for I'm talking, but it should be same as last time. Not same game, but
Interesting. Okay, okay.
also I definitely hear myself.
Well, I definitely hear double, but that's okay. That's only on my end.
Well, it's also pretty bad.
Oh, that's well.
Well, they hear me a little bit.
That's okay.
All right, should be getting into it any minute now.
Gonna be pretty excited. Pretty excited to see what Cleveland State has been cooking. We could see Li Zhang again, could not. It's usually a standard that most people like to go with because that map is just really solid. I'm hoping for Ilios. As a Lucio player, I'm always hoping for Ilios. And it's being probably my favorite map in the game next to probably King's Row. Yeah, King's Row is also amazing.
Nice.
Which for a time Cleveland State really didn't like to run, but luckily we're past that era. He's the reason why. Well, not he's one of the reasons why. That's okay. Wrecked.
You should stop unmuting and just start yelling into my mic.
That's a good idea. Maybe not. Maybe I was wrong.
Still waiting here. Is this amount of time between individual games standard?
Sometimes more, sometimes less. Usually depends on the team. Sometimes people really like to ice people out. And like
Yeah.
really take their time. It's weird in this. Because I don't think there's a set time that you can really do. Arctic Peninsula, interesting. That's usually a dark horse that we see people pick on certain things there. It's usually that was in the back of my mind. I'm like, ooh, what about Arctic? But yeah, okay. I guess I'm a liar.
Lijiang Tower. Interesting. I assume that's how you pronounce it. It looks like a Chinese word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, loser bins are like nothing burgers. They really don't really do a whole lot, in my opinion. At least in this game, we really don't have enough maps to really make it like truly important. Unfortunately, I wish we did, but there are enough like unique and dynamic map diversity.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll get upset about that.
All right, getting into it here any second now. I keep reading that one player's name is Mickle instead of Mickey. Any Ohio Smashers in the chat will know.
Mickle Crom.
Yeah!
I know ball.
Shout out to Mickle, man. Mickle's one of my best friends.
Big shout outs.
An interesting looking map. Is the verticality I'm seeing cosmetic or is it part of the playable area?
No, what you see out there is pretty playable as well. Depending on the character, you can get pretty much everywhere. Flyer characters we can pretty much give you everywhere. If you're Lucio and you're blasting Jet Set Radio in your ears, you absolutely can get there. But you don't really want to in this type of thing. This is gonna be an interesting one. Okay, this is the first time that we've seen brawl tonight on both sides, and we're seeing on Reinhardt. This could go one of two ways. Now, I don't like cursing things or jinxing, but Cleveland State typically has a very interesting run-in against Reinhardt and playing as Reinhardt. So this could go one of two ways. Either this is going to be a stomp on our regard, absolutely annihilating, or this could be very, very, very close. And I'm just going to start talking for the rest of the match.
Oh yeah, I know this guy. It's like the one Overwatch character. I recognize him and Tracer. And Genji. I know Genji.
Yeah, those three are definitely like some of the more iconic characters when it comes to Overwatch. ShamWow getting a little displaced from the rest of her team, unfortunately. Not really able to get out of there, but able to get out and not die, which is the more important thing. Getting stuck in that spawn room is really, really unfortunate. Specs sending Zippy to the spawn room. Winter playing pretty well, not letting the wall stop them. Unfortunately, getting stopped by wall, not able to do as much as they would like there. You were seeing just Cleveland State sort of get out of there. Yeah, they're playing really, really, really effectively into this. The walls being almost pretty much of the reason why the opposing side is able to make a lot of ground. While Reinhardt has pin, doesn't really have as much value on the into Cleveland State as much, just because of it's very committal. And should the Rhine go a little too far into Cleveland State's arms, he gets smushed pretty effectively. So it's going to be a combination of playing around each other's walls, shields, and amping speed, and Cleveland State just losing that a little bit quicker than they would have thought. It's yeah, we're seeing just the performance go a little bit more on the opposite side here. Ryan makes this a little bit more interesting in the head-to-head because he doesn't really care about Ramacha block. He more or less cares about walking right past him and getting on to everybody else, and he doesn't need necessarily the added benefit of playing around certain things like Ramacha does. A lot of ults on both sides, though. A lot of things can shake things up. Blizzard being the only thing being used on the opposing side does make this very, very scary for Cleveland State here. We're seeing the wall come down. Could potentially see something. A massive block from Winter there, preventing the value there. Seeing the beat come out. Specs is going to go down because of that boosted fire strike. Winter getting hit by that Cassidy Deadeye, going to be pretty deadly. Going to see the back go down, but Winter's also going to follow through as well. Can't really push in as well and effectively. We could see the touch from Specs there, but or from Nebby in the bag. Yes, Nebby is going to be able to touch. Gets to the beat, going to be able to do, I think, two other people. Wasn't able to get a good view there. Nebby's going to get the kill. Specs is going to follow up as well. You're going to see Specs attempt to contest. Not able to secure the kill on that, on the Lucio there. Winner's going to come back to contest. Yeah, this is just looking a little bit over for this first point here.
Yeah.
Unless Cleveland State could really make something crazy happen here. Chamel's going to go down because of the Lucio. Yeah, it's very, very, very unfortunate to see that Cleveland State not going to be able to make a major impact there. Yeah, like I said, Ryan is just typically harder for Cleveland State. It's unfortunate history, but even still, going into the next maps, it's going to be a little bit easier on the Ramacha or something else should they really want to. I'm thinking Azaria is going to come out. That is a comfort pick from Winter. Might be defaulting on that regard, but yeah, we're seeing the Sim come out from Cleveland State as well. Could be very interesting to see.
Yeah, especially at the end point there where they were really struggling to contest that last objective, it did kind of seem like it was Reinhardt's game to lose.
It really, really does. Like, in theory, Ryan isn't necessarily the best character to run in general into this. Ramacha does beat him 10 times out of 10, but even still, when he gets in, Ryan is deadly. Yeah, even still, we're seeing the Ryan come out there. We're seeing the Junkrat as well. Very interesting to see. Makes somewhat sense considering that you're running a lot of brawl and a lot of grouped up, so Junkrat's big damage grenades are going to be getting a lot of value. Speaking of big damage, Sim, when she's at that maximum amount of charge, is going to be shredding through that, so we're going to be seeing Svex take advantage of that, getting 2 nice shots on the opposing Sim. Not really going to do anything crazy there. Seeing Svex come back with that TP. Reinhardt destroying to make sure no shenanigans happen. You're going to be seeing the opposing side take that point pretty handedly as well, unfortunately. Looked pretty competitive. Not going to see anything big come out of that for Cleveland State. Game just started though, so truly could be anyone's. Seeing the TP, little sneaky play from Ghostface, getting the sneaky teleport out. And the teleport kill on the Lucio, so it's going to be pretty dominant there. A very interesting window coming up from the opposing side here. Could we see? Yeah, I knew it was going to happen on either side. The shatter looked too juicy to resist, and it looks like Winter drew a little bit too. Seeing the bomb come out there as well. Yes, is going to get a good kill. Very, very worth it in that regard. We would say holding the point and the objective pretty well there. And yeah, going to be a pretty, not the cleanest fight, but definitely going to be a fight regardless. The Cleveland State's going to win. And a lot of ults being gone from the side of the opposers here is going to be good here. Cleveland State coming up on pretty much everything, only using Tire to really win that fight and just raw abilities. See the Sim Shield coming in. See the Sim Shield coming out again. Winter with the big shatter beat right on time. Unfortunately, not really going to see the most value coming in there. We're going to see Ghostface get pinned and the Reinhardt flying off the map, taking Ghostface with him, unfortunately. And yeah, we're seeing the opposing side here just absolutely rip through Cleveland State like butter, unfortunately. Not seeing the most staggering performance there. We're seeing the kill on the Lucio there. Damwile putting out the kunai, ready to fight, and does not see anything come out of that, unfortunately. Cleveland State holding that point for a very, very long time, though, getting it to a nice and crispy 63%. Very nice. Very, very, very nice.
All right, gonna see another push here into the site.
Seeing that come out, Winter with the block, being very defensive as usual. And Shemao gonna get pinned, but does falter, unfortunately. But Nevi diffing the other Lucio, getting them out of here as most effectively as possible. We're gonna see the trap go down. We're gonna see the Sim pass as well. An amazing boop away from Ghostface, absolutely keeping this competitive. Winter's just absolutely trying to keep Ghostface alive. She's shaking, she's nervous, but she is alive, ladies and gentlemen. Cleveland State can maintain the point.
Yeah, really convincing showing from our Junkrat there.
Very, very, very interesting, because I was not as confident as people would think. Oh, and there it is. The dreaded character pops out herself. Diva is going to be a very, very interesting point of contention for this. That's one thing that we didn't really see a lot last match, a lot of swapping. Definitely shows to the confidence of the enemy side here. Definitely very, very much aware. Winter, unfortunately, getting put in an unfortunate situation there. The window is going to be very scary for Cleveland State to play into. Yeah, we're seeing the Bastion just sort of rip a hole into Cleveland State's defenses there. Not really able to do a whole lot more there. Yeah, Junkrat getting the two-piece combo, and Zippy with the biscuit. Not really seeing a whole lot of defensive from Cleveland State there. They have ults and time to play with here. In theory, could get 2 fights out here depending on how quickly they regroup. But it's looking like they might only get 1. Winter holding strong, definitely getting to make a decision here. Does get the beat, but just a little bit late. Oh, such a great shatter there. A very ambitious, yeah, we just looking a little bit sloppy on Cleveland State side. Not really able to see a good cohesive solution there. And we see the Thwomp coming down, slamming on Nebi's skull, unfortunately. Not seeing anything come out of that beat. And yeah, looks like Marquette, that's our opposing side here, is going to be taking the first game here. Yeah, it was, unfortunately, Cleveland State really could not get their footing there. It felt like they really, really couldn't see anything come out of anything major. Ghostface pulling their weight, though. Absolutely clutching this initial point here. Winner doing his best to keep her alive.
The music in this game is so good.
And it's so underrated too. Like, most people really don't think about it until you just really listen to it. Oh man, my favorite ones are Eichenwald. Elios is phenomenal. That's probably my number 1, and Legion Tower is probably my solid number 3. Kings is really underrated too.
Yeah, it's not something you see emphasized a lot in most competitive games, unfortunately. I mean, Valorant, CS, those don't have any music to my knowledge, at least not during the matches.
Yeah, it's not something that you really focus on. I think you only get the music is when like I think it's when like you're about to make a clutch scenario and it's like one-on-one, then you start hearing stuff. But I think that's the worst time. I'm like, I don't want to hear anything now. I need to make this happen.
Yeah, other than fighting games and this, I can't think of another example where competitive game music has been really memorable.
I think it powers you up, man. I think
Yeah.
a game like this, like, and especially like fighting games, hearing your theme is just really good. Whether it be through like, you know, some really intricacies of it, where some people will like really need the music and almost like counterpick you. I almost had a situation happen where a guy played really distracting music, but then put in his own headphones, which was like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
At Super Smash Con, they made doing that against the rules, so you'll get DQ'd from the tournament if you do it. It's really,
Really?
yeah.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a list of songs that you just aren't allowed to pick at all.
Is environmental noise one of them?
Can you say that again?
Is environmental noises one of them?
Yes.
I hate that song.
You're not allowed to pick that song under any circumstances on stream, and off stream your opponent can just veto it. Alright, so we are going to see Push next, I believe.
Yeah. Seeing what we're gonna pick. Oh, New Queens. All right. I guess we're not having fun this time. No, I'm kidding. I have full faith in Cleveland State. Little bit of a rough showing there, but depending on how they like to run this here, it could be very interesting. What is most, not commonly, but in just most scenes there, because of how the map is very like lane and like sort of like, as the name would suggest, street based. Ball does end up being played pretty well on this map alongside just many dive based comps. So we could see the Diva come out, or we also could see, because it is just kind of one lane with a bunch of holes kind of interspersed for other characters to play through. Could see the brawl still. Could be very interesting to see.
Alright, game starting right about now.
Initiating match.
What is the official esports support for this game like from Blizzard?
So one more time. Sorry, I was just zoned out.
Don't worry, I just asked about what the official esports support for this game is from Blizzard.
Oh man. To keep it short, very interesting. Very interesting. At one point it was on top of the world. I don't know if you saw or not, but DJ Khaled ended up performing at the biggest stage for Overwatch, which was kind of hilarious. Not what people expected before, but hey, it was DJ Khaled and it was Overwatch, so it's just like, hey, pretty big person with pretty big game, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Had a lot of streamer support, a lot of the bigger end streamers like XUC Defran, if you know who those guys are, were in it at one point, but then unfortunately did not see the light of day very often. It's still pretty prevalent on the international side. We're seeing the World Cup be very popular in the summer, and then the minor leagues, and then some of the more professional like side things are still prevalent, but not as supported as you'd think, unfortunately.
Unfortunate. Yeah, because I know StarCraft 2 by the same publisher is like one of the biggest esports ever, so it's interested to see how they approach another game.
Yeah, they do pretty well, but it's just not as supported as you think. We're seeing, yeah, Cleveland State get absolutely in the mix here. We're seeing the Ramatra pick as well. Nibbing the bag, absolutely walking on them. Yeah, Cleveland State, I think the Drunken Queen was a really good pick into them. It allows Cleveland State to get really loose and pretty silly with how they want to play here, especially because of how effective Winter does like to be at being in the enemy lines. So with the self-heal, they can get a little bit crazy when it comes to being that there. And Kiriko being able to teleport in theory wherever the heck they want to, and Nebi as a very, very good taxi does make this pretty versatile for Cleveland State. You like the Ash pick here though. Very, very underrated pick, and in theory the best hit scan DPS in the game at the current moment. Good cleanse. Unfortunately does not get Ghost because she's a little bit chilling on the side, holding that angle. Gets picked off because of it though, so it's small error on ShamWow's regard.
Yeah, I kind of see the ult come out from her pretty soon, or be online rather.
Yeah, getting that 50% doesn't end up being pretty pivotal there. Cleveland State doing a great job of farming ults as well. Pretty much everyone's going to be online apart from Ghostface. Does end up putting them in a pretty good position for the next upcoming fights. They're the opposite side. Marquette is holding a pretty alright lead, but like I said, push is definitely any man's game. You got a ton of time to make anything happen, so usually going to be the person with the better mentality win. Oh yeah, the unfortunate pig there. We are going to see the cleanse not come out, or not the cleanse. We're going to see no defensive abilities come out from the side of the opposers here. Beat was just not online and nothing really to oppose that there, but unfortunately it's not really gonna matter as much because we're just seeing the power of Ramatra just beat down on Cleveland State. Not as effective as we thought that was gonna be.
Now 2 ults online on the side of Marquette. Pretty scary if you're CSU here, I imagine.
Yeah, we're going to see Cleveland State lose the lead. Unfortunately, not going to be something we'd want here, especially after doing a pretty big commitment there with the 2 support ults. Thinking that it could be an easy fight and sort of like holding that there. This could be pretty troublesome if I'm Cleveland State here. We're seeing the beat perfectly timed to hit that there. We're going to see Svex get absolutely walked on, unfortunately, by the opposers here. Yeah, Cleveland State is just sort of getting outpaced, unfortunately, in those little decisions, which unfortunately happens. This is one of the many things that can happen on push. Happens pretty often if you're not really on the thing of being aware of your ultimates and like timing. You can get steamrolled pretty quickly, and unfortunately, this Marquette is taking pretty big advantage of that.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting sort of resource management aspect of the game here in terms of the ultimates and when you choose to use them, how you choose to farm them, etc.
Yeah, some are a lot quicker to get than others, and some you really have to be pretty quick on. Late Bob from Cleveland State. Ghostface still getting somewhat value, though. Getting the pick on the opposing Ash does look pretty winnable for the most part, but no, Axan just going to clean up with the opposing side there. Cleveland State is going to need something happening there. Svex is going to go down. Nebi following suit, unfortunately. Winter trying to make a last-ditch effort with the Diva. Not going to see anything from the Dynamite either. It's looking rough for Cleveland State here. Yeah, we're seeing the Ramatra, the big purple, hopping on the objective here. And I think this one might be, yeah, an unfortunate shutout from the opposing side here. Marquette going to take this pretty handedly. Does not look like Cleveland State could get their footing there.
Yeah, unfortunately. We'll see if they can bring things back in our 3rd game of the night here. But I'm sure that's not what they wanted. Hopefully they don't let that hurt their mentality too much going into the 3rd game of the night.
Yeah, definitely could close this out 1-1. Even the strongest bleed sometimes. Definitely could see some comeback potential on the side here.
Alright, we are going to be going to break soon, so thank you for everyone who's watched so far. We'll be back pretty soon, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see you soon.
And just when you thought that we were gone, we're back.
Hello, everyone. Do you know what team we're going to be facing production?
It's a dream.
It's a dream.
That who I think it is?
I wouldn't know.
That's Swagmaster?
This just in, Ty Munster, our production, has been kidnapped. By which I mean had to leave for 2 minutes.
GG.
We should be good, I expect.
That's all good.
It started. Thank goodness.
Looks like we might have a bit of an issue going on between the teams. Miscommunication, perhaps.
Mm.
So it's a problem with League OS,
I see.
which is the like software that NECC uses.
Oh, so they might be facing the right team, or the wrong team at the current moment.
Well, they're facing the right team because this team won the previous match, but the system itself is like it thinks neither team won, like it's still set to 0-0, but it also thinks that Pace or Treen won. It's just very weird. Let me send a screenshot in the Discord.
Ah, I see. Interesting.
All right, jumping into things here.
Kind of gonna be hard to see any other map than Lijiang Tower, honestly.
Yeah.
Ready for battle.
Seeing the dive for the first time on both sides. Very interesting. Diva has been a ridiculously prevalent tank for the current meta. Even with the nerf, she's still very prolific. And honestly, seeing the Winston stim on the enemy team is going to be very dangerous for this. Winter's best tank is probably the Diva. Winston is probably a close second, so we're going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to be playing into this. Very PO oriented, very conservative, I can assume. Seeing Ghostface and Shamwow get picked off almost immediately, so not a lot of peeler like cohesion there, unfortunately. I think, yeah, Cleveland State just got a little bit split off there. Not everybody on the same page, but that's one of the many struggles of Dive, sort of getting on the same page there.
Mm-hmm.
But in theory, Cleveland State has the easier time going into this with the Sombra Tracer.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Sombra's going to be pretty easy to shut down everybody going in there. We're going to see a pretty good Winston bubble there from everything there. We're going to see, yeah, another great dive, yeah, from the Winston and Genji, sort of separating the team out in a very interesting way. That's the beautiful thing I kind of like about Winston. Bubble is a very, very interesting tool that is a little bit underutilized when it comes to dives there. Separates healing, separates everybody out, and separates the supports typically from the rest of the team. So should you get a good dive going, you can end up getting pretty good kills pretty effectively if you have your other DBS on the money there. Cleveland City's not able to do that as effectively.
Another scuffle about to break out here.
Gotta go.
We're seeing the Sombra go down, unfortunately. Yes, they're just not seeing a lot go down yet. Winter's just not able to find an opening, unfortunately. Seeing the stall, not really doing a whole lot there, unfortunately. I think what's mainly Cleveland State's problem is that we're not seeing enough cohesion when it comes to originating dives. Do see the pulse bomb getting eaten. Very, very, very good there. I do think, yeah, pretty predictable there, so very glad that Winter's able to see that going on there. Seeing supports, their ultimates are going to be coming online. Not as close to an EMP as we would like, so might not see that this game, depending. Seeing the blade come out as well. Nevi unfortunately not there with the beat, just a little bit too slow when it comes to building it. Seeing the counter beat from the enemy side here, Winter getting forced out of his mech and getting eaten alive by the monkey. Seeing the late, yeah, I think the late engage there from Ghostface was not the best there either. Yeah, unfortunately, another just pretty sloppy match from Cleveland State. I think we could end up seeing something a little bit better on the other maps. Dive is typically pretty hard to run and keep effective when you're on the opposing opposing side there. So maybe you just see a little bit of a cleanup there from Cleveland State. We're going on the night market. Could see the brawl come out from either side. Definitely going to see it from Cleveland State. I know Winter wanted to hop over to that as soon as possible. Ramatra is one of his comfort characters. Seeing the DPS stay the same is very interesting. You can honestly run this pretty well with that. Seeing this hop over to the Genji from the opposite side. And we're seeing the Mei, and we could be seeing a Cass. Could be very interesting as well. I'm very interested in this Pachimari right here. And that delectable treat next to him. What could they be drinking? Boba, perhaps.
Perhaps. Alright, getting into it now.
The Sim setup here is going to be amazing, honestly. Sim is one of those interesting characters that does really well against Brawl, or against Dive. In the Brawl, she's really phenomenal. But yeah, this is almost like the duality of it. The thing that you have to be careful for in Dive that typically is the main reason why it falls apart is that every player has their major role to play in each specific one. Dive, in theory, you can run 2 people pretty well, but once you lose 1 or 2 people in the brawl, it falls apart pretty quickly, unfortunately. A dive, you can get pretty silly, and if you can get your 1 pick, you can make a whole lot of energy out of it because you have so much movement. Brawl, not so much. You're almost supposed to be a sort of cohesion, and once you lose your main support, or not your main support or your main source of healing in the team, fall apart pretty quickly. That's why we probably saw the ShamWow switch over to the Kiriko pretty easily. Unfortunately, still going down just because of the amount of damage that's going on in the opposite team. Not really seeing the best of the sorts here. Manatee cleaning up, getting the 3-piece biscuit combo on the Cleveland State here. Still winnable. Still definitely could see something good here. We're seeing the Cassidy here as well. That's a very, 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 very good pick into this. If the sim isn't working, mainly because of the barrier, we're going to see a lot more of the Cassidy being able to shut this down because of stun grenade or hinder grenade. Excuse my language. It's not stun. We don't have stuns in Overwatch, guys.
We are going to see the ult come out from Impress.
I'm with you.
Not really seeing a whole lot there. Blade, not really going to amount to much. Nebby is going to go down. Seeing Winter absolutely walk down on the opposite Lucia. Lucia's are going to be down this match. Winter just walking in alongside. Yeah, we see good reaction from both Winter and Ghostface on the money there. Ghostface is going to go down. Unfortunately, so is Winter. A good hold. Unfortunately, doesn't see anything out of it there. Both sides are going to have a lot of ults going on here. This is where Cleveland State starts to clutch up here, potentially. We need to see a big cohesive push out of spawn here coming in from there. I don't know why we're sitting behind on the Mei. I think a Mei's gonna be, we're seeing the swap to a Reaper. Good pick. The beat engage as well. Very interesting. They're hoping to win this game pretty quickly, but yeah, I think you'd end up saving that for the Blade. Don't know why. Maybe that was just something that wasn't as called or cared for, unfortunately. Not something that uncharacteristic from Cleveland State there.
Yeah, finally getting a point on the board, or percent rather, but with the opponent at 99%, it's a hell of a comeback.
Yeah, uncharacteristic from Cleveland State there. It's not something you want to see, especially on the Brawl. It just seems like it was very much on the cohesion side, not really able to pull everything together as effectively as one would want there.
Yeah, maybe we'll see a bit of a switch up in strategy now, moving over to push. Maybe we can start to see things sort of turn around for Cleveland State there, but definitely not the type of showing you want if you're Cleveland State right now.
It'll be very interesting. I think maps are going to be a very important thing for Cleveland State here. If they have a comfort map, I definitely think about snagging it here. They seem to be pretty comfortable in Queens, but I don't know how much that is the case. Most of the maps that they're seeing here could be pretty staggering should they choose correctly, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Yep.
And almost as if the sun was going to rise once more, we see Esperanza on the horizon. You absolutely love to see it. Easily my favorite push map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw a lot of interesting play come out of this in CSU's last game earlier tonight, if I am remembering correctly, and not getting the maps mixed up.
No, I'm 90% sure we had to do the yeah, that is a specific one there. Very, very beautiful map. Visuals are always one thing I'll always praise about Overwatch, but yeah, like when it comes to overall gameplay, they're very similar, but this map is more dive oriented. A lot of high ground, a lot of things you can end up playing. If you wanted to play the distance game, you absolutely could, but also it's still push, so it's going to be very, very heavy lanes. You can end up putting that close quarters combat pretty well in this. But we're seeing a very interesting mix of both. A very, very versatile comp on the side of, on both sides, honestly. Ghostface on the Venture, newer character, very interesting character, being able to completely change the game with their abilities. Sojourn, everybody knows her. Supports nothing crazy there in the Junker Queen, and we're seeing the Echo. Very interesting pick alongside the Tracer and the Lucio Juno. So hyper speed versus almost consistency of these comps here. This is going to be very interesting to see here. I will say for the opposing side, cohesion and push coordination is going to be pretty important on how they're going to go here, but we're going to see if Cleveland State can capitalize on that and make them make those faulty mistakes. Looks like they've already started their Svex being able to shut down the Echo from starting anything crazy. Pace Citrine end up being able to, ooh, great boop from Nebby, keeping them out of the loop when it keeping the Winston out of the loop. Oh, and a great knife from Winter, keeping the Winston right back in the loop. Winter unable to capitalize on the Echo there, but does get the pick, shooting the pigeon out of the air. Winter probably looking for a good knife. Nebby's providing that good support, keeping Winter alive. We've seen the win. An unfortunate thing there. I mean, he might have got on the axe, but he might not have. Unfortunate thing there. Typically, you hate doing that. I get yelled at a lot by doing that. You do really want to keep the boop on cooldown should the Winston go for a knife, or should the Dragoon go for a knife on that. Good movement from Nebby getting the heck out of there. Big beat, keeping the fight competitive and keeping the fight long for that. We're going to see, yeah, good trade there. Going to see Nebby bringing things to an even amount. Great cleanse, keeping each other alive on that regard. Knocking down the Winston a couple pegs. We're going to see everybody clean up really well. No supports on the side of Cleveland State, but still can make something happen. So holding on to the lead as well. Oh, we are going to see the Echo get the dupe. That's not what you want to see there, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a scary situation here for CSU.
Railgun powered and ready to fire.
Seeing the pulse come out, no cleanse, unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of ults are being used on the side of Pace Citrine, but it does not look like Cleveland State seems to care. A pretty great knife from Winter as well. Love to see it on that regard. Nebby in his bag, absolutely. Walking in, helping the team out very much so.
Taking naps.
Winter and Nebby shutting down the Tracer. This is that almost like interesting thing about Push where it gets really close. These little intricate small fights instead of those really big chaotic ones are what make push games really close. And I think Cleveland State just finally realizing that they need to start taking the pace into their own hands instead of getting run over all the time, and truly make these games competitive and make them their own pace, because they absolutely have the means to do so. This is another thing I was talking about, taking full action into there. Lucio getting a little bit caught out of the place there. Ghostface absolutely cleaning up there, getting the 2 picks there. Winston unable to go anywhere. Great boop from Nebby in their bag after all. Love to see it. Echo trying to get a cheeky pick there and does end up getting it there, but Ghostface follows up.
My ultimate is ready.
All right, 2 ultimates ready on CSU side, 1 on the enemy side, with Manatee not close behind, or close behind rather.
Gonna be seeing the dupe as well. No initial things from the Tracer. Winston looking rather low. Is gonna pop the primal, starting to knock things into place. Great beat does actually get Kiriko in that as well, which ends up being really solid. The pulse not really getting a whole lot. We're gonna see Svex go down, unfortunately. If Cleveland State plays is right, they absolutely can still make this happen. Gonna be coming up on the Fox tube as well. If I'm Cleveland State here, I'm trying to get the heck out of here as quick as possible. Unfortunately, the cleanse hitting a no reg. I would have smashed my monitor if I was in that scenario. Getting a good axe, and unfortunately just not a whole lot seeing from that just vast amount of healing on the part of Pace Citrine here. Absolutely ridiculous to see here.
Pace Citrine coming in here to re-engage. And here comes the robot. 2 ults ready for CSU.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
They were gonna be seeing Shamrock go out there. Nebby in his bag, walking down the lane. Ghostface following up. We're seeing a lot of damage from Svex going down there. Ghostface and the rest of the team following up pretty well, and Cleveland State maintaining a pretty steady lead over these current matches. Ends up being a pretty good hold. If I'm Cleveland State here, I'm just sort of trying to win these fights as cleanly and as effectively as possible. The longer the fights, the better in their case, because they have a pretty solid lead at the current moment, but that all could change. So I'd just be very careful in their state to not get overconfident. Unfortunately, that's what we're seeing there. Ghostface is going to go down. Just getting caught out a little bit early there. Sphex is going to follow suit. This is almost the beauty of dive at the current moment. When you catch somebody with their pants down, it ends up being a thing of very interesting play by Winter. Does it end up prevailing? It most likely does. Does get the knife as well, and finishes off the juke. Very, very nice. But ends up cleaning and
play there, all things considered.
Yeah, one of those gambits that Winter is known for, end up boating out in his favor this time.
Forward spawn activated.
I just realized that the little thing the robot is pushing runs on the tram tracks. That's so cool.
Yeah, it ends up being pretty cool there. Which honestly is a pretty cool idea. I think it's like very much based on like a trolley system. Just kind of tried and shoot to like actual area. I forgot where Esperanza is. I think it's somewhere in Latin America. Wow, Winter with the double axe, cutting these people in half. I don't think we can show that on stream, but we're doing it anyway. Tracer unable to get the kill on Nebby. Winston unable to get any major value. Unfortunately, Winter expecting the Winston to fall right into his grasp, but the axe not going to get any value. Winston not even close to the primal, so they could in fact go in. Hearing my pleas, Ghostface absolutely finishing off the Lucio, and we're going to see the Winston go down. Nebby's going to falter as well. Pulse just barely gonna miss Ghostface there. She's narrowly dodging the damage there. A very, very ambitious blade going to go out there. Norman is going to follow up there, and Manatee Edge just going to start swinging the sword against Winter, cutting him in two, avenging his dear teammates. I think both support will go online very, very quickly. If I'm pace citrine here, I'm just looking to play this as quickly and as carefully as possible while getting my opponent to use as many ults ineffectively. But I don't think that's going to happen on Cleveland State's regard unless Winter stays in the bubble for just a little bit too long. Gets a absolutely massive rampage, keeping this very competitive on the side of Cleveland State here. We're going to see the Primal Rage come out. Support is going to go down. Another one follows. Another one follows. Absolutely. I feel like DJ Khaled tossing out these verbs. Absolutely insane to see Cleveland State maintaining a pretty insane lead. Specs is going to falter, but Winter is going to clutch up, putting down the monkey.
Yep, and with two ults about to be 3 ready to go, this is pretty daunting if you're pace citrine. Alright, coming in for another engagement.
If I'm Cleveland State here, I'm looking pretty confident. Plenty of ults on the way here. Absolutely shredding their Ramattra pretty confidently. We're seeing the beat as well to keep things competitive for the end part here. Looking to see if they can get a good, the Ramattra is going to end up going down. We're seeing Nebby amp heals and then keep Ghostface alive. We have 2 left from the opposing side here, maybe 3. We're seeing Ghostface hop out the ground.
Victory.
And that's going to be 1-1.
All right. Pretty impressive showing from CSU there, all things considered. I do wonder what sort of strategies we're going to be seeing going out of push and into the next format.
Yeah, if Cleveland State can make efforts like they did here to make a massive shift in how they're making the game for themselves instead of playing to the base of their opponents, this could be an insane reversal. Because it was looking pretty rough on that first Legion game.
Yeah, keeping control of the pace of the game was definitely something CSU did much better at in Game 2 than Game 1.
Amateur might be hopping on the microphone, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I need to come on the mic to say this real quick. So the most recent patch that Blizzard did, or one of the most recent patches that Blizzard did to reduce the verticality on the pushbot contest range so that you couldn't stall on spots like New Queen Street and Coliseo is what CSU managed to like take advantage of on accident. That Lucio was flying above the bot in previous patches that would have contested. It only
sure would have.
because of that recent patch. That is ridiculous odds.
And we like to believe that there is no such thing as gambling in Overwatch.
I love
There is.
gambling.
There is, in some regards. Sometimes you just do, and sometimes you just win. We saw it on Cleveland State. They rolled twice and won. That play by winner was absolutely a gambit of the ages. Well played. Not something on the consistency side that I would want to see all the time, but hey, it boded out. Can't hate too much or at all if you're being honest.
Yeah.
We're going to be seeing the quick load into Servasa as well.
Okay, this is the one I was thinking of, I think. Yeah. Thinking back, this was not a push map.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see from the side of Cleveland State and seeing what they're going to be making happen here.
Mm-hmm.
Pace Citrine definitely giving Cleveland State a run for their money. They're making them do, honestly, the most changes that they've had to do in a minute to their composition, and a very interesting composition from them as well. So going on the full offense, almost as if anybody knows Pokemon, the hyper offense side, definitely popping open the light screens with a Tabu Koko. Very interesting. Very, very interesting to see here. I really like what they're doing here. Definitely popping the sticky webs. Definitely got the Galvantula on the set here with the May and the high octane, high speed comp. Cleveland State rocking out with what they were rocking out with before. It was working, so if it isn't broken, a wise man told me never to fix it. So this is going to be very interesting to see.
Alright, jumping into it now.
Seeing the, yeah, that's typically what you just like to see there. Winter playing pretty well, again, avoiding the wall. I think, yeah, we will be seeing that there from just the raw damage output from there. Tank is going to go down. We are seeing, yeah, unable to get in the ground of there, unfortunately. Winter, yeah, losing just a little bit there. Not able to get shot in time. And, yeah, we're seeing Pace Citrine just absolutely obliterate in the up close range against Cleveland State. That's going to be the big struggle here. This map is very brawl and close quarters interaction focused with the big hallways. So Pace Citrine might be on pace to make something crazy happen here. Somebody stop me with these punts, guys.
The breeze brings relief.
Seeing the shout in, forcing the Reaper back to his team, unfortunately. Seeing the May, she does get the ult off. Yeah, that's going to be pretty staggering for Cleveland State. Might seal their fate for the rest of the match here. Oh my, wow, that's absolutely phenomenal. Great headshot from ShamWow, keeping things very competitive for that. I think we are going to see Winter squeeze out from the little corner of the barrier. A very interesting rampage on the last-ditch effort to make something happen, and we are going to see Nebby get right to the point, make something happen, perhaps trying to recontest for a later time. No, just trying to see if they can get on and make something happen, but no, nothing there. Maybe we're seeing the switch here from Winter. No, we're still going to see the Joker Queen rock out here. Makes sense. Does end up being one of the better picks to make things happen in this regard. Head-to-head's going to be still strugglesome, though, with the Reaper May and not really having a strong character at that specific range. Going to be pretty tough. While I'm eating my words, we see, yeah, Venture just sort of put Ramantra in his place. Cleveland State starting to run down right on them as well.
Four ults on lock here for CSU, I just want to point out.
Yeah, they are looking to maybe stack ultimates this match. Oh no, we see Winter, yeah, getting caught by the wall. That's been a reoccurring thing that's unfortunately happened. Usually you just want something yeah, you really got to play around the wall just a bit more on these maps. The map is way too hallway oriented to be caught. You gotta stay moving, in that instance. Brawl is definitely about like getting that one pick and then just enveloping the rest of your team. And if that pick is the tank, looks like game over. 3 ults, by the way, for that. Unfortunately, that is unfortunately correct. Timeout stir.
That feels much better.
We're seeing great boop from Nebby, an amazing reaction there, keeping things really solid there. And oh, I'm so sad. I love Lucio, but that makes me sad. Almost an amazing boop by Nebby. Still in their bag, doing phenomenal. Keeping things very competitive for the Cleveland State esports team here. Pushing them off because they aren't having as effective as a push going on here. May looking to stall for the next upcoming push. But yeah, the Ramantra coming in and just making everyone suffer as he has. That amazing ultimate just sort of dominating on space, getting it in these sort of clutch scenarios is really pivotal.
Yep, it's pretty even point right now, but it's definitely a little scary. Count it up really quick. Yeah, that's gonna be a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, we're gonna see Cleveland State needing to make a major change here. Seeing the cast come out does give them a more or less stronger frontliner to fight against that. We're seeing the May as well, so I just hope it's not too late for them to adapt to this. We're gonna need to see some very similar wall. Yeah, so we're not even gonna see the wall as a major player into this fight. That Cassidy with the hollow purple onto the Ramatra there. That I don't think everyone here understands how pivotal that specific buff is. Cassidy was already a ridiculous character to run in Brawl. Him having that to completely shut down Tracer and pretty much anything it gets thrown at with that direct hit is ridiculous. It was originally 45 damage, now it's 75. Cassidy's headshot damage does well above 75 if you're at a decent range. And Ghostface proving that she doesn't need a Cassidy to make anything happen. Hopefully we'll get to see more of that action so we can see more of the Blizzards coming out. Blizzard on this map is absolutely ridiculous. Ends up being a very, 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 very powerful ult that Cleveland State can take advantage of. And hopefully that they can shut down against Pace Citrine here as well. Them being more on the speed and offense focused here does give them the advantage there. And we're seeing, yeah, Winter unfortunately getting caught by the bit Frost there, getting outpaced yet again by Pace Citrine. Just playing a little bit too much in the hallway. I feel like in that specific instance, you play point and just sort of make things happen. There are too close quarters of a composition to make something happen. If you play too much in the hallways, you get caught in and sort of enveloped within the domain expansion of May's ultimate. So I say that, but if you've seen JJK, it truly is like that. Exhibit A yet again. Unfortunately. We could see something happen here. Nebby in his bag for sure, potentially getting, oh, not the 3, but definitely getting the 2, securing Cleveland State's position there. See the Wraith coming in, and Nebby just absolutely preventing anything from happening, and Ghostface and Winter following up as well. I think of an MVP award. I'm definitely giving it to Nebby so far. Definitely pulling their weight.
Looks like this will be the first point for CSU here.
Secured. Next, flashpoint, ruins.
3 ults unlocked, I want to point out. 2 on the enemy side. Getting into it here.
Yeah, we're seeing a ridiculous amount of ults go down on the screen. We're seeing the May ults come out from Cleveland State. Almost all of the ults, you almost question if that was necessarily needed. I understand that the Ramatra ult was dropped down, but when you use the beat, that is definitely something that you have to really reconsider. That beat is too powerful of an ultimate to just really whip out willy-nilly. I question that, but even still, not a bad play to make. Cleveland State ended up securing that there, and you have to make these types of gambits to stay up anyway. So not something that I would regret if I were Nebby either. Getting a good cleave. Manatee sort of walking in with the rest of the team, but yeah, no team to walk into particularly. When you have something like that, we're gonna see Manatee starting to clean up, unfortunately. The Blizzard from the opposing side here, like I said, ends up being a ridiculous option here. Ended up covering the entire point in pretty easy succession. Pace Citrine is able to capitalize.
Group up here. Let the Kitsune guide you.
Alright, we're seeing the push here to try and reclaim.
And potentially doable. Nebby luckily getting the heck out of there. Not seeing anything from the Deadeye there. Manatee is gonna get the kill on Nebby there. Yeah, unfortunately just an ultimate difference. They're getting a little bit outmatched when it comes to ultimate pace. Pace Citrine is just getting their ultimates much more effectively at a much easier rate. You can see it here. Cleveland State is almost playing right into their hands yet again. An amazing pincer from Pace as well, sort of preventing that from happening. But Cleveland State doubling down and getting around that pretty effectively, not taking any garbage from the enemy side here. Reading that play pretty effectively and bouncing around very, very, very well. So whoever's call that was to bounce around there, very, very, very good. Love to see that from Cleveland State. It's the meta and the mind games that you gotta love about this game. Winter getting a little bit overzealous, getting a little worried, walking directly into a hallway. Very easy to get walled. Moving on.
It's a very tense game, 99% to CSU's 94, 95. Is that going to be it? It's contested, 99 to 99.
It's very, very close, but yeah, I think that was unfortunately the killer there. You really hate to see it, unfortunately. Cleveland Sata's gonna go down there.
Play of the game.
Yeah, really heartbreaking loss for CSU there. They were so close to bringing that back. But, good stuff to pace Citrine. I am going to go talk to the players, see if any of them are in the mood for an interview, and we will be right back.
Oh, I would love to do an interview. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Unmuted? Unmuted. 5, 4, 3, 2. Good evening. Welcome back. I haven't been on the mic because I've been behind the camera for most of the night. Today, I'll be hosting the interview once again. I'm joined by, what is your real name again?
My name is Lexi.
Lexi, I'm so sorry. I just remember it's you, IGN. Good effort today on that last match. Great first match, I will say. Second match looked a little rough. Third match again, but good play overall. How are you feeling after your games today?
Honestly, really good. Even after we did have some rougher games, we felt like we really learned a lot and kind of got better with our, what's the word, cohesiveness together.
All right, that's good. So you are a rookie, and for the first time, as far as I'm aware, in CSU history, you are on an esports team that is at least 50% female. What is that like? Because that sounds like way better,
Oh, yeah.
especially for you as a lady.
It wasn't really what I was expecting. I was kind of prepared to have mostly male teammates, but it's really nice to have that. It's it's nice to have that relatable other person, I guess. It's it's great.
Person.
Other two people, yeah.
And one last question before I let you go for the day. I believe you are a freshman.
I'm a junior.
You're a junior. Okay, so you're popping in for CSU midway through your college. How is it joining the esports team in this kind of middle to later part of college?
It's awesome. I'm really happy that I can be a part of it and be able to say I was a part of such an awesome team. It's definitely busy, but it's totally worth it. I love it.
That's great. Love to hear it. Great games tonight. Unfortunately, you guys couldn't catch that last dub. Played it very, very close. Couple of fights that maybe could have gone this way or the other, but great play tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow at, I believe, noon is our first game tomorrow, and then another game should be at 4 unless they rescheduled and they hate me. So thank you all for tuning in. We will see you again tomorrow.